my name is Nigel Maynard, Editor-in-Chief of Drugstore News, and welcome back to our ongoing video series where we interview leading voices in retail pharmacy. Today, our guest is Dr. John Wigneswaran, the Chief Medical Officer for Walmart. Doctor, how are you?
I'm doing great, Nigel. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Let's just dive right in. Walmart is now entering the clinical research space. Can you tell us why is now the right time for the company to do this?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And I probably would answer that by saying that we've been in the healthcare space for a long time, and we look at research as a natural extension of that. And one of the things that we've been really intentional about is that it's not the number of studies or research as its own entity. It's the fact that many patients don't even know about specific studies that may impact their health, and they're not being included in that. And so even if someone gets involved in research or they don't, the bar that we're setting for ourselves is that we're engaging that patient, we're talking to them about their care, and we're trying to measure what the impact in the community is after that. So a long answer to that, research is just a natural extension of what we've already been doing and always been doing.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you some specific questions as relate to the effort. Now, which partners will you work with to manage the program, and how will you ensure success, and what areas will you be focusing on first?
Yeah, so we're using and working with a lot of leading institutions within research, from pharmaceutical sponsors to clinical research organizations to academic health systems. And so, and what we're trying to solve for, and this is what's important about the Research Institute, is that we have capabilities that other institutions don't. We have patients that we serve. There's a Walmart within 10 miles of 90% of the US population. 4,000 of our 5,000 stores are in underrepresented areas. We're already having those conversations. So to a certain extent, a lot of the things that we're doing and the partners that we're working with, they have a hard time finding those patients and having a relationship with those patients. So we're solving for that gap. And one of the announcements we've made is the first thing that we want to do is to shine a light on studies and patients that aren't represented. And so we can really play an important part in patient recruitment.
Okay. Now, speaking of recruitment, how will you reach those individuals to get them to participate in these studies?
Yeah, surprisingly, when we were having this conversation about, getting involved and trying to solve the problem that's there, we wanted to kind of ask ourselves, what did our patients know? And, 75% of patients are aware of the term clinical research, and over 50% of the patients that we polled would participate if they had an opportunity. And so to a certain extent, us engaging a patient is something we're already doing. So we have millions of patients that have opted in to getting messages just about their care in general. And so this is just a natural extension of what we're doing. So if we know, and we already know a lot about our patients from them using our pharmacy or our clinics, that there is a study that is relevant to their disease state and that might impact their care, their community, or a family, that's a really important touch point. And to be able to message to people in a way that they understand is something that we're going to do. So we're already doing that, and that is either, whether it's by text or email or conversations, we already have those relationships, and that's a little bit of how we're going to start.
Dr. Wig, would you talk to me a little bit about Walmart's commitment to expand healthcare access to urban and rural communities, and also talk about how it aligns with the research initiative launched by North Carolina AT&T to do the same thing?
Yeah, so North Carolina State A&T is a really important partner with us in this, because as the largest HBCU and very interested in beginning to look and have these conversations with minority populations, it's a natural extension of what we're doing. One of the things that we have been talking about with their clinical leaders is that it's really important that it's great to recruit and find patients for studies, important studies, but the bar that we're trying to hold ourselves to is after that study is gone, after that patient has either participated or not, what happens in the community after that? So how are we holding ourselves accountable to making sure that there was an impact in the community, that a patient has benefited in some way, whether they know more about their disease, they're more engaged in their care, maybe we're able to find out a gap in care, that they can't afford a specific medication or they've missed a vaccination. Those are the types of conversations that we're having with a partner like that, that is really vested in the community aspect of what research really is all about.
Okay. So the final question I have for you today is about the future. And I know it's very difficult to look, 5 or 10 years from now, but what do you think healthcare delivery will look like, 5, 7, 10 years from now, with retail pharmacy playing a large role?
You're asking a tough question, Nigel. You're not supposed to do that. And I think I'll probably answer it by answering a question that you asked before, which is sort of how we're planning to play and our commitment to healthcare in general. And so part of what we're trying to do is be, the omni-channel provider, that we're able to reach patients using data and trying to get the right care to them in the communities that we serve. I think with regards to health in general, what you're seeing, and I think the retail sector is a natural extension of what is, as a clinician, is that many of the things that you see that impact health happen way before they come to a physician's office. It could be what they're eating. It could be whether someone is engaged or not. It could be that they're not relating to their provider. Or in our case, where we have a pretty deep commitment to taking care of patients with HIV, they may feel uncomfortable talking about that. So when I think about what a retail company can provide, it's very powerful, because we've had pharmacies since the 1970s. We've built out under Dr. Pigas's leadership, a telehealth asset, optometry sites, several thousand, specialty pharmacy, clinics, dental. And so we're uniquely positioned to begin to, number one, impact those patients much earlier. So if I'm a diabetes patient and I am have a certain way of eating, and I'm not aware of what this is doing, to me or to my community or to my family, that's something that we can have a conversation with regards to educating them just about their purchasing habits. If there is a research study that is impacting someone with uncontrolled asthma, who is from a specific population that never knew about a specific medication or a study, and didn't understand sort of how important that is to take care of, to be involved in that, that's something that we can be involved in. So I think our touch points, and this is Walmart in general, is that we're involved with individuals from far before they see someone like me. And that's a part that I think is a gap that everyone is trying to solve, and I think we're uniquely positioned to do that.
Okay. Well, Dr. Wig, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Nigel.